Hello. Welcome to the news. This week, lots of news about upcoming aircraft and some Xbox Cloud gaming. Don't go anywhere. So I am joined once again by my fearless co-host, the man over there who just got promoted to live streaming. Gibbo, how are you?
Murph, how are you? Good to see you. Where were you last week, by the way?
I was flat out doing things that were important to people.
Okay. Good to see you.
I ate fish, Gibbo. It didn't go terribly well, but listen, that's not important. What is important is we have some news to start off with. So, first up on our list, what's this, Gibbo? This being an aeroplane, a famous flyer airplane from the creators of other such airplanes from the Coronado range. It is the Beachcraft Stagger Wing. What's the story here?
Yeah, Murph, this Stagger Wing, used to say from Beachcraft, it actually replaces the Antonov AN2, which was supposed to be part of the famous Flyers series. The famous Flyers Antonov is actually ready, as far as I understand, but it is delayed in licensing issues and so forth, and probably world events as well doesn't quite help the situation. But the Stagger Wing has been released. It's available in the in-sim marketplace at the moment. For PC and Xbox, priced at $15. It's considered to be one of the most beautiful and elegant airplanes actually ever built. It's considered a bit of a Cadillac of the sky. Cadillac, even of the sky. And if you will, with its biplane design, and of course its upper wing is staggered behind the lower wing, which improves pilot visibility and gives the airplane its design. That, as well as retractable landing gear, which wasn't common for the time, really finished off its look to create this beautiful machine, really. Murph, I know you've been giving this one a bit of a run for its money, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, we're going to be actually checking this out on our live stream a little bit later on in a little bit more detail. But the aircraft itself, I thought this was a brand new build, if you like, from Coronado. They actually released this back on P3D, so it's not a brand new model for them. Sure, it had to be kind of rebuilt for Microsoft Flight Sim, but the aircraft itself, there's actually some fascinating history behind it. Because, friends, you asked the question as I press some buttons. It was developed and designed by a dude called Walter Beach, Mr. Beach. But the idea of this aircraft started off a little bit earlier when he worked for a company called Travel Air. And in that company, he worked with Clyde Cessna and Lloyd Stearman, along with Walter Beach. So you had Cessna, Beach and Stearman all working in the same company. So it's phenomenal. So Beach went off and designed this aircraft, the D-17S Stagger Wing, and it revolutionized air travel. It is a general aviation aircraft. It's very spacious on the inside, and there's still a number of these flying around the world today. It's absolutely beautiful. So we'll be checking it out on the stream a little bit later on. So if you're unsure, should you buy it? Well, you might make up your mind in a little bit. But moving on, Gibbo, you covered this long before anyone else was talking about this sort of stuff, and it was all to do with cloud gaming. You released a video saying, is this the future? And here we are about 7 months later, and Microsoft have pushed this out the door saying, here we have it, it's cloud gaming. What is cloud gaming?
Yeah, so Xbox Cloud Gaming, Murph, has been out for about 6 months now. There's a number of titles that you can see already available. And as of the 1st of March, Microsoft Flight Simulator was added to the list. So what it allows you to do is basically use supported devices. That can be an older spec PC, a Mac, an Android or iOS tablet or phone, or even an Xbox One, to be able to stream basically the sim from Microsoft servers directly. All you need to be able to do this is to have an Xbox wireless Bluetooth controller, as well as obviously meet the internet spec requirements. I think it's 20 megabits per second is the recommended internet speed, and be an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription member. That, in case you're wondering, is €1 for brand new members per month, and then €13 per month thereafter. Basically, what it allows you to do then is access the sim on these devices. So think about it. If you're on a tablet or you're on a phone, you can access the sim on the go. You do need your controller, of course, but it basically mimics the current Xbox Series S or X experience of the sim. Microsoft are committing to 1080p at 30 frames per second as your experience. And yeah, I've been testing it out. We'll be playing with that a little bit later on the live stream. And the experience is good. It is very, very similar to the Xbox. There's a few here bits and pieces in terms of PC options to do with graphics, etc., that are removed, as you might expect. But yeah, it offers simmers, I think, a good experience for those particularly looking to come into the sim for the first time. So yeah, it's phenomenal in that regard. And as I say, a lot of us perhaps already are Game Pass members, so we get it there too.
Well, that's the thing, and like, I've loads of questions for this later on, but like, I think you talk about value added functionality. I mean, we're the owners of the sim, and this is just it's a checkbox to say cloud gaming, you got it, and it's there. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how well it performs. So yeah, looking forward to that in a few minutes. Now, next up is an aircraft that looks like I drew it, right? After a feed of a couple of pints, but it's actually a real world aircraft. This thing is mad looking. What is it?
This is the Zippy Sport, Murph. It's made by Rar Avis Sims, and yeah, it's another interesting choice for low and slow sightseeing. I think this could be classed as the small monoplane category, to be exact.
Okay.
But the Zippy Sport is an original creation of Race Air Designs, and it was planned to be built by adventurous amateurs. It was intended to have a variety of different engines over the years. The most interesting one being from Volkswagen, which is what this particular variant modeled by Rar Avis Sims is for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Yeah, as you say, it's got looks only a mother could love, really. It has a high wing design, so it does provide great clear visibility to either side of the plane, perfect for sightseeing, of course, giving a clear and airy cockpit. It is a simple aircraft, as you can see. The model looks good, although could perhaps, as you can agree there, use some better external texturing. It has 3D instrument panels, windscreen icing and rain effects, custom animations, and more. Finally, the sounds, they come from the default Savage Cub, which is okay, but it would have been cool to really have that proper 1200 Volkswagen engine. 2 liveries come with it, and it's available right now on flightsim.to, priced at $10.
That's not bad for $10. And like, it's another one of those planes, and we'll see it soon when the Trilander is released. It's like, could you imagine going to Oshkosh and they, wow, is that your plane? No, it's not my plane at all. No, I have a nicer plane than that. That's who wants it? But look, that's what I love about aviation. I mean, like, you can have the weirdest and most wonderful looking aircraft, and it's not necessarily how they look. It's kind of what they can bring to you, So it's pretty cool. So I was in absolute awe and like wow when I saw this video because the MD-80, it is a fascinating aircraft by all accounts. It's somewhere between Airbus, Boeing, and Shep the dog. It's in between it, whatever way they designed it. But this thing is really starting to look good.
It is. Just looking at it here, Murph, we first covered this in our 3rd show. I think we're on show 18 now, so that's how much of a gap there's been. And Leonardo is the developer here, bringing us the Fly the Mad Dog MD-80 series. He shared a development update saying that the project is in a great state, as we can see from these visuals, with the Mad Dog now flying wonderfully in Microsoft Flight Simulator with smooth dynamics. They're in advanced beta testing already, with the aircraft systems now modeled and even failures working up to their standards. There's no release date confirmed at the moment, but they did speak about how it would be sold. So what they're doing is they're making a basic package. But never fear, usually when you think of basic package, you think, oh, it's going to be skimpy, and really the meat will be in the expansion packs. But there's a hugely comprehensive and detailed set of features that comes with this basic package. Just to give you a few, it'll be the MD-82 with the Dash 217A engines. It'll have the avionics fully implemented as per the P3D version, including failures, as I say,
nice.
In-ops. It'll have full FMS features. It'll have integration with the Microsoft Flight Sim ecosystem, such as the jetways, the catering, and that sort of stuff. It'll have a livery manager. It'll have lots more. In fact, there's quite a long list as to what will be included. In addition to that, then, there will be these expansion packages. As I say, they haven't exactly locked on what will be included, but they are discussing things like other versions, such as the MD-83/88. It'll have the Dash 217 and Dash 219 engines, perhaps, and other FMS, PMS options in EFB, and even aging and servicing features. So this doesn't look to be too far away.
No, and like I suppose in comparison, it's not a million miles away from kind of like the CRJ series, whereby, you know, there's these kind of short to medium hoppers, like the McDonnell Douglas aircraft. They're still used. A lot of cargo operators were using these.
FedEx,
yeah. But like what I love about the MD-80, it's kind of like it's almost like a captured time. Do you know what I mean? It's like the late 80s, early 90s. There was a lot of these flying around the place, and the avionics and the setup inside in the flight deck, as weird and as mad as it is, it actually made a lot of sense in terms of flows and what the pilot was doing. So I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, I think it's absolutely incredible, and it looks incredible. And as you know, Leonardo, they have a great reputation with P3D, so yeah, no, it should be good. But moving on to something that, well, you're mad about. The Concord, like, in fairness to DC Designs, like, we are getting regular weekly updates on this thing, and every week he seems to say, hey, I just figured out how to do this. Look at the state of it, which is great. So what's happening here with the Concord?
Yeah, a little bit of news to catch everybody up on with this. So we do have a confirmed release of March. No exact date, but at least we know the month, folks. We'll go with that. And they have said that it will be arriving to console, they expect, in the May timeframe. What they've been doing really are working on the things you don't really think about too much in terms of prepping for a release. Things like working on the interactive points, like as I said a moment ago, the jetway attachment and ground power and fuel trucks and baggage holding, even refueling ports, all that sort of stuff they're working on at the moment. Full autopilot features are now all in place, and it's moving into really the refinement stage at this point, which of course is a continuous process, as I'm sure we can appreciate. Their current focus there being on the flight model, and continuing just to fine tune it and perfect it, which they say really is working sublime, and perfectly mirroring Concord's real life performance throughout the flight envelope. Finally, then they're also just making the finishing touches to the proper PBR finish for some of the external modeling, as well as, you know, continuing to work on some of the interior lighting just to really add to the atmosphere. Murph, they have confirmed pricing here, so just to remind everybody, the pricing for DC Designs Concord is £28, $40, or €35. So I cannot wait for this one.
It's pretty cool. And like when they were talking about the flight model, I mean, this is a Delta Wing aircraft, and Asobo actually said, hey, we will help you. I can't even do a French accent, but if I could, it would sound better than that. But like they were like, we will help you with the model. No, that's not Z. That's not. I'm failing visible here. But anyway, Asobo said to them one day, sure, look at, we'll help you with the flight model. But here's a question, right? Do you know the nose? In its all its majesty. Isn't there like flaps for the nose, or there's some sort of a switch thingy mabob, whereby on takeoff the nose had to come, you know, flat nose, and then obviously it would rise up for help with the aerodynamics.
There's 4 positions to be exact.
Isn't there like a name for that? I don't know if anyone knows the name of it. I need to know the name of it, because I was only chatting to someone the other day about the Concorde and I got stuck. I was like, yeah, you know the thing with the yoke, and they were like, huh? Anyway, we're really excited about this, and mainly to say we flew across the Atlantic in 3 hours, man. Do you know? So I can't wait for it. It's going to be absolutely awesome. And again, I just love the fact that the developer is so open. Like, he's pretty much giving us every single step of the production and of the development of this aircraft. It's wonderful to see. So moving on, look at this mad looking divil. I saw this and I said, oh yeah, I know the yoke. It's one of those Piaggio thingies. But it's not. This is actually very strange. It's a Leer Avia Leer fan. I know nothing of this aircraft. I've never seen it before. I've seen like the Piaggio version, and it's somewhere between like the Piaggio version and the Vision Jet. It has that V-tail, but it has a prop. What's the deal here?
Yeah, you'd be forgiven for not recognizing it, Murph. I'll come to that in a moment. This is brought to us by Lionheart Creations. And yeah, it's very similar to, there's some similarities to the Cessna Skymaster here, right? With its totally different design. It is a 1970s turboprop business aircraft. And it has the unusual configuration, as you can see from this screenshot, of a single rear-mounted pusher propeller, which is powered by 2 engines. And the idea behind it was to provide the additional safety of a twin engine configuration while mitigating the effects of an engine failure, and the handling difficulties that would cause in a traditional twin engine configuration. This project actually never managed to move into production. There was only ever 3 aircraft built, most of which now are in US museums.
Oh.
So we have a few images here, as you can see, from Lionheart. Clearly a lot of attention has gone into it, particularly the interior model, which comes across quite good and nicely posh here, which you'd expect for a business aircraft. The developer states that it's been a learning process for them too. It's been lots of unfamiliar systems in terms of coding that needs to be implemented for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Unfortunately, there's no release date as of yet, so we will have to stay tuned to see further news when it becomes available. But the flight model in this should make it an interesting fly. I can't wait.
Yeah, like, I mean, you know, it's for business jam, which I like, but the aircraft itself, the interior, if any of you guys are familiar with X-Plane, it's very Aerobasque-esque, if you know what I mean, because they made an incredible add-on called the Eclipse, and looking at the avionics and the general layout, you know, of how the cockpit is, it's very similar to that of the Eclipse, and which is a tremendous Aerobasque aircraft. I'm really interested in this. I think, you know, Lionheart Creations, they kind of started out and they're kind of rough and ready, but then they're progressively getting better. Their last aircraft they released, the biplane, that's incredible. What a joy to fly that thing. I forget its name already. That's not important. I'll edit it back in. It's grand. But this one looks fantastic. And again, it's really, really interesting. And to think you're almost flying in a concept aircraft. That didn't really take off, as it were. It's still great to see. So yeah, really looking forward to this one. So moving on, we have news from our friends over at Just Flight, and well, if like the list of wanted aircraft, do you know what I mean? It's like, I'll eat toast for the next 6 months if I can have these planes. But the BAE 146 or the Avrojet, as it's known over here, well, they're making serious progress with this. It's kind of still in early beta. We've seen a couple of videos emerge now. We saw Fabio messing around with it a few days ago, but this thing is just like, they're really putting their heart and soul into this aircraft. So what's the update from Just Flight?
Yeah, Murph, as you say, we're starting to see a little more now coming from various sources on this 146, which we cannot wait for as well. Yeah, just some takeaways, I suppose, from me. It hasn't been a huge amount officially from Just Flight on it. There's a couple images here and there, but it is clear that they are working on the final steps of the beta process in terms of, you know, last minute bugs, fine-tuning, improvements, etc., as of course the beta testers continue to put it through its paces. One thing that I spotted was the FMS, for example, isn't operable in its current build at the moment, so that might in itself explain the release date, which we are led to believe is April. So if all goes well, that was according to Just Flight's Scott Phillips. It does look incredible, Murph. I mean, the depth and breadth of the detail in, you know, throughout, but especially in the cockpit, really, I don't think I've seen anything like it before. The sounds as well, that's the WY sounds, just really make it incredible. What I can tell you that you may not know is that other variants will be added soon, and that'll include the QC/QT freighter and the RAF VIP configurations, as well as new liveries to reflect the current operators. Now, I don't know if that'll be ready for day one or if perhaps that will follow separately post the initial launch. Just Flight were also asked the question as to whether or not it was coming to Xbox. The response was they wanted to, so you can read into that as you wish. One other tidbit that I picked up as well, Murph, which I thought was interesting, was they were asked the question regarding pricing, and the response was that they're thinking that it is likely to be around the price of the P3D version. So obviously that's just speculation, but the price of the P3D version today, I looked it up, is €75. So I can't imagine it might be too far off that. And Murph, I think you might know more. Is there anything else you perhaps can share? I can handle the truth. Do tell me.
Listen, I know you wanted to. I can't. I do.
Come on, Murph.
I can, but I can't, right? Of all the people to give this to, don't give it to me. I'll break it, and it'll probably break me. But I will say this. There are a number of things that I'm really looking forward to this aircraft. Number one, as someone who's going to transition from a general aviation aircraft into the airliner stuff, this is ideal. It's very sophisticated. It has 4 engines, but the size of it limits kind of what you can and what you can't do. It's ideal for the short hops, and the fact that it's going to come eventually with a cargo variant and even the VIP variant, which is flown with the Royal Air Force. Anyone watched the movie The Queen or The Crown? Yes, or ears. It's ears, right? Drop the R, ears. Well, that's what they flew on. Do you know what I mean? And how are you? Good to see it. And you can pretend you're flying around the royal family, having the crack. But because it's Just Flight, and I think Just Flight have been around on other platforms for quite a while, and it's only when I really saw them making a lot of progress, they brought out some of the most visually stunning aircraft in X-Plane, and that's kind of recent. That's like 2017, 2018. They were straight off the bat here in Microsoft Flight Sim. And out of all the developers I've seen for this platform with aircraft, what are the arrows on now? It's like their 8th or 9th patch. They're constantly working on, and that's great for us. I mean, you're investing into a product that is getting constant attention. And then I think what absolutely broke them out of the park had to have been the Hawk. I mean, that thing is absolutely superb. One of the best looking, the best sounding, and it's a lot of fun to fly. And it's the same team working on this BAE 146. They also have a few other bits and bobs in development. So this is their absolute focus point at the moment. But I would say soon after we're going to see some of the more aircraft coming in as well. They're working on, as we know, the Fokker 28. And we know of a list of other general aviation and even military aircraft that are kind of on the back burner at the moment. So Just Flight are really doing amazing things, and I think they're raising the bar with every single release, and it's just exciting to see it. The 146 is definitely on my list. I can't wait to be able to fly it and hey, look at all the buttons I can press. But it's fantastic, so I'm really looking forward to it. You're definitely going to get this, right? I mean, this is 100%. On your list. 100%. Oh, yeah. There we have it. So in our last bit of, the news, we have this thing. Look at the state of it. It's just like, I want it in my life, not to fly it, I just want to look at it. This, we're looking at, friends, here is the DC10. And it's also the KC10, I think. Gibbo, what's the story here?
Yeah, Murph, there's a good story behind this. It's an interesting one. This is brought to us by Aerodynamics, who are composed of developers that are on active military duty and operate a real KC-10 in the United States Air Force. Obviously, again, with current world events, development time is currently unpredictable, so the team was unable to provide accurate timing estimates for future progress, never mind a potential release date. But they are working on creating 3 different models for Microsoft Flight Simulator, starting with the KC-10 tanker, followed by the DC-10F, the civilian cargo transport, and then to finally focus on the famous DC-10, the passenger variant. In the latest development update, Aerodynamics have completely overhauled the external model of the aircraft. You can see some images of that here, with the goal of being a more accurate representation of the forward section, wing routes, and more. They've also added access to maintenance areas of the aircraft, which indicates that they plan to implement some cool maintenance functionality into the final product. And they're also working on a set of learning tools, which I found very interesting, including a 300 plus page as it stands, flight manual for the KC-10, and a flight crew operations manual for the DC-10.
Wow.
Which of course will share a lot of similarities. Next steps, they tell us, are working on the systems programming and the electrical systems. Finally, by the time this is released, the team hope that they'll have some notable liveries such as FedEx, Continental Airlines, Pan Am, Northwest, Swiss Air, and lots more. And it tells they'll be back in June with another development update, all things going well. Murph, I've left the best to last. I've buried the lead. This is freeware.
What? No. I was only going to say, right, imagine a military orientated add-on developer for Microsoft Flight Simulator. You know, you'd have the recruitment process, a drill sergeant, I am going to be Sergeant Hartman, and you do your thing, you get the haircut and the whole lot, and sir, yes sir, and I want some scenery, make some scenery, and you'd be making your scenery, and next thing, textures, you'd be getting like, God damn, I want textures. Do you know what I mean? It'd be great fun. Yeah. Is that you, John Wayne? But look at the KC-10, it's a phenomenal aircraft, and the DC-10 from the civilian variant. What's very interesting about this is, because it's this kind of aircraft, the want and the wish is, well, can you bring the style and type and theme of flying this aircraft into the sim? what I'm trying to get at here, we all know that CL215 Canadair, the water bomber, yes, it brings kind of water bombing into the sim, but it's not done really well because, well, the add-on just isn't great. Okay, we just want it to be better. H1 or High Performance Group with the H145, they're bringing out the new exciting expansion pack, but with that, you have the ability to do water bombing. With the KC10, these things are known as being air-to-air refueling stations. Could you possibly imagine if you then had something in the sim in which you can get refueled mid-air? Like, just think about it. If one, provided you don't have a hashtag 22, we're out of fuel completely. But could you imagine if, like, someone's doing a round the world flight, or a around the world flight, two cats. Do you know what I mean? Or someone going very far and very long, Alison Johnson. If there's anyone going really far, and you can say, "Hey, I'm going to go up now and refuel them," could you imagine the crack you'd have? It'd be absolutely brilliant. And to think this is a freeware project, it's incredible, and it looks amazing. I mean, just give it to us as it is. It's grand looking. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. It's huge, do you know? So, well, that's lots going on. So that's it, friends. We got through the news in one take. And, well, we'll be back to you next week at the normal time, and we'll do the very same again. Don't forget, you will catch us on the live stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2000 Zulu time on twitch.tv/2ToneMurphy. Until then, I'll see you soon.
Take care.